Warning: the following podcast may contain material not suited for those who are easily offended or under the age of 18. It may contain coarse language, dark humor, and/or offensive humor. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Enjoy the show. Hey guys, welcome to episode 7.5 of Otaku Midnight. As always, this is your host, Cube the Third, and I don't have Kevin here with me again. But this time, once again, I am joined by
DoubleOSerodin.
back again, and he is currently sorting out his magic cards. He likes to roll hard in the magic. So, since last time, how have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We just got finished watching this week's episode of Kobayashi's Maid Dragon, Exceptional on Us All, and that's really how it's been.
Yeah. Yeah, we just finished that one. Basically, this is basically the show we've been watching, and you pretty much said you dropped out of Gabriel Dropout.
Yeah, I'll probably get back into it when there's more to consume at one time, but for right now, I've just kind of taken a back seat from it.
Yeah, because last time you said it was like, it felt like it was like trying too hard to be Moe. The thing I like about Gabriel Dropout is like the expressions and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, it
Doga Kobo, that's the reason why I love Doga Kobo.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's a bad series. It's just there's not enough for me to digest right now where I can really get into it. Like that's just how I feel about it right now. I've also got other priorities going on right now, so I'll get back into it sometime. Not that I hate it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And today, we were going to do this right after we got out of the movie, but unfortunately, we were kind of like tired. We were tired of shit, so we were just like, we'll do it until today. So yeah. Today we are talking about Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale. So, Saradin, without further ado, let's hear your thoughts on the movie.
First of all, if you were like us and didn't get to the film, I suggested we get to the film we get to the theater probably at least like an hour to 2 hours ahead of time. But y'all decided you wanted to go get food at Midnight Slice. So,
yeah, that was pretty good, except for the fucking wind.
It was delicious food, delicious pizza. If you ever get a chance to go to the Columbus area, Midnight Slice is great. They sell pizza out of the side of a shipping crate. There's 4 or 5 locations around Columbus. But these fools wanted to go get pizza. Some of the fools we had with us, and when we got there was a line extending, a good 50 or so people outside of the front of the theater. So if you wanted to get to that theater, if you wanted to get a perfect showing, for any of these big time movies like this, like one time show anime movies, that just get there early. To be fair though, they had 3 theaters set up for us, so we were still able to get nice front row seats, and not like front row like I have to stare straight up seats, like decent front row seat.
These were great. Those were great seats.
Yeah, we actually got lucky with great seats because they had 3 theaters open to show for the one event.
I thought it was 2.
It was 3.
It was 3?
There were 3 theaters. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh damn! I don't remember. I thought because I remember seeing 2, but
yeah, there were 2 because it said on my ticket it said 2 out of 3.
Wow, 2 out of 3. Damn.
Yeah, so there were 3 theaters. But anyway, so we got there. We got to see the movie. We got to have a really good have really good seats for it, which definitely helped. The Gateway's no joke when it comes to their actual. It's not like a lot of other non-profit or low-profit theaters that I've seen that don't have very good systems. Like Gateway takes care of its systems.
Yeah,
very
Gateway.
well.
Yeah, this is the reason why Gateway is my favorite indie theater, and I really wish our indie theater was just as cool as the Gateway.
You know, I'm kind of not. I kind of disagree with you, and here's why. Like the Neon. First of all, we live in Dayton, Ohio, which if you've ever been here, yay! The Wright brothers invented the airplane here, and that's just about all that's ever happened in this city. As far as the Neon Theater goes, there's a huge art scene here in Dayton, Ohio, and the Neon caters to that crowd specifically. Showing anime movies is something we've been trying to get to happen there for a long time, and their excuse is that it doesn't sell, and I can totally agree with that. I can totally agree with that, and the reason I don't want them to start showing anime films is because that doesn't give me a reason to travel to Columbus, which is a far better city with way more stuff to do, way more stuff to discover, and it's an excuse to drive an hour north to a much more enticing environment.
Yeah, I can agree.
I'm kind of, and also I've been at the Neon several times, and their systems aren't as good as the Gateway. So even if the Neon were showing anime films, I would still opt to come up here to go up to the Gateway to see them.
It's just that the reason why is mainly just for convenience and gas, you know.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people. Anybody who's willing to make for a movie like Sword Art or a movie like Madoka or a movie like Kizumonogatari, like. If you're gonna be into the anime and love it enough that you're gonna go and make an excursion and plan a trip to go to this film, I mean, I don't understand. Are you, if you're strapped to that? I'm sure there are those who can't make it out to these theaters because they just don't have the ability to transport themselves there. But for the majority of the people, I mean, we saw 3 packed theaters, and these people came from all around, so it's not like driving an hour in one direction or another is a completely impossible task.
We should point out that through a Fathom showing, they were showing Ordinal Scale at Huber Heights.
Yeah, they were. But I like to definitely support the Gateway. Also, the beer and the popcorn is way cheaper there. And being able to sit down to an anime movie with popcorn in one hand and a nice frothy beer in the other hand is just a very pleasurable experience. Before I talk about the actual movie and the structure...
one more thing about the Neon, kind of a hot take. Also, did you know that the Neon movies used to be one theater?
What do you mean?
They split it into 2 theaters, like sometime in the 2000s, to get more screenings.
Nope, I had no idea.
And as a result, my dad can't go to the Neon anymore because the theater, and plus the theater itself is like really really small, so it's like I don't think you can see something like Madoka on that screen or something like Kizumonogatari, because Kizumonogatari, the aspect ratio where it's rendered, because it's basically I'm exaggerating here, but it's basically the size of like 100-inch TV, basically. Not, like I said, exaggerating. It's kind of just imagine like 100-inch TV in front of you.
No, I understand what you're talking about. The way it looks to your eye,
yeah.
And sitting closer to a smaller TV obviously gives the impression of a larger screen. I understand what you're talking about, but yeah, you're right. The Neon also is limited in its resource. It wasn't built or designed with with modern movies in mind. And they're doing the best they can with 2 theaters, but they had to make cuts in this and that. So again, it's a fine experience if all you're going to go is to see a movie like Jiro Dreams of Sushi. By the way, fantastic indie movie and little documentary about sushi chefs. But for a movie like Ordinal Scale or for Kizumonogatari or for something visually stunning, you would definitely want a bigger theater. You want to go to the Fathom event. You want to go to the giant, full cinema screens.
Basically, that's the reason why, Gateway is kind of the reason why I'm, like, thinking, like, once I start driving and once, I have, like, resources, I wouldn't mind moving up to Columbus.
Yeah. I mean, what you make up for in gas costs, you're going to sacrifice in house payments and insurance payments. I'm just going to warn you that one ahead of time. It's a lot more expensive. A lot more expensive to own an apartment in Columbus than it is in Dayton.
Henceforth, why I said resources.
Anyway, so let's actually talk about the movie real quick before I go on rattling about the actual movie and what was in it, I would like to make a shout out to all the SAO fans out there who attended the movie. You are part of what makes that experience for everyone else amazing. I mean, there.
Also, our audience was very respectful too.
Yeah, there were definitely people in our audience cracking jokes. I was one of them.
Yes, you were
enjoying ourselves a little too much, or and just getting into the moment. But everyone there was for a united purpose. We were there to enjoy our one of our favorite series on screen, and it was nice to be in an environment where we could talk about our favorite show. We could enjoy it and just dive into it without having to feel like we're being persecuted by haters, and just being able to sit there in a theater and crack a joke to my buddy as something ridiculous happens on screen, or to make jokes about Kirito and Asuna's relationship, and just poking fun things like that. And I'll get into that later. And then and receiving a laugh, or oh yeah man, I know what you're talking about. Like that kind of validation is just very very fun. It's part of what makes a big movie release like that very fun. Is just being there with the crowd, with people who are like-minded. And to all the SAO fans who went to go see this film out there who are watching this, you guys made this experience awesome for everybody that you interacted with. And that's something you can be proud of, because there aren't a lot of fandoms that can come together like that and just revel in what they do and then just enjoy it without having to feel like they need to reserve themselves.
And
that's great. And that was my experience. If I went to go see that theater, even if I had the same screen, if I had the same audio, all the same stuff, but if that theater only had 10 people in it, and we were all sitting apart from each other, that film wouldn't have been nearly as exciting or as fun to me.
Yeah, that's the thing about that's the magic of the theater. That's the whole reason why I just can't. That's the whole reason why I just can't, see theaters exactly going away, because people say that theaters are dying and all that stuff, but
they've actually never been bigger. Statistically speaking, if you look at, there are less theaters in the world now. But they're larger, so they're filling the gap, and so they're still filling the same need. And the amenities that a theater provides you, some of them are providing waiter services now. Some of them have the luxury recliners, which are excellent. And a lot of them are starting to provide many more services. Also, a lot of theaters are providing programs that your average television station at home or Netflix can't provide to you, such as remastering an 80s classic in high resolution, redoing the colors, fixing that kind of stuff. That stuff you can't get by just watching TCM all day. That stuff you can't get by going on Netflix. I mean, this is stuff that the theater can provide because they have the money, they have the backing, and you can see anime movies on an actual big screen with actual full spec surround sound. And that's something that your home entertainment system, try as you might, will never be able to provide.
Yeah, because there is no home. As far as I know, and I'm like a huge audiophile thanks to my father. There is no audio system that I know of for a home consumption that is 11.1.
Yeah, you can make them. I have a buddy who actually toggles with that. He uses car speakers.
Oh, you can actually make 11.1?
Yeah, he uses car speakers. Actually, fun fact. You can do it. It's just, it's a task.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that service provided to the average person. And also
Dolby Atmos, too.
One of my favorite quotes from anime, actually, is from, again, this antiquated series that I love to death called Eureka 7. And in the first episode, the first line of dialogue in the entire series is the photographer from the Rebel group from that series, who's actually modeled to look like Che Guevara. He states that when you think about movies and music, it's not really about the song or the movie you're watching. It's more about the experience you had while watching it. The film is so much more impactful to you when you were there with people that you care about, and how you interacted with them is just as much of the experience as it is going to see the movie itself. And so the experience of being there with other people is what made this movie, especially Ordinal Scale, so magical for me, and so much more exciting. Also, if you're going to watch Ordinal Scale, I suggest you get a good television, because while the story I have some quirks with, while the everything else, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who said, well, this was kind of like crazy at the end of it.
It was.
And the visuals and the audio are just exceptional, and they are a thrill in and of itself. So get yourself a good venue to see it at, or get yourself a nice TV or a good computer screen. Flip all the lights off, get your headset on, and immerse yourself in it. Immerse yourself in the sights and sounds, because that is really where this movie, in my opinion, excels at. And actually, again, pedantic romantic,
yeah.
On YouTube,
shout out to you, buddy.
Yeah, YouTube did an excellent job explaining that even if you dislike the story, I fail to see how you disliked the visuals.
Yeah. The story, I mean, was like, well, it's, it feels like, like a typical, like, 80s kind of like, computer sci-fi story, which I've always kind of like. That's how I've always seen SAO as a 80s computer.
Well, yeah, going back to the Tron, the whole Tron idea, and
basically the stuff like this computer sci-fi in general and all that stuff.
Yeah, again, a trend that started in the 80s just because of the fascination with computers and immersing yourself in them.
Yeah.
So a brief synopsis for those of you who haven't seen the movie yet. This part contains no spoilers. As opposed to a virtual reality system that that shuts off your motor skills and uses them to control your avatar in game. The Ogma, as it's called, which is the system in this game, is an augmented reality. So it's essentially it's Pokemon Go, but you fight monsters, or it's Monster Hunters if it was Pokemon Go.
Yeah, basically.
And the idea is that Kirito is hesitant to join it at first because, he's still wrapped up in virtual reality for good reason. All of his friends are doing it. This system also is able to grant you things like, if the more you play, let's say, if you're playing the game or any kind, or using the Ogma at a cafe, you can earn coupons for the cafe. So there's a big incentive for companies to invest in the Ogma to make the corporation more money, and there's also a big payoff for playing it a lot. So they want you to immerse yourself in it and play it as often. Ordinal Scale. For those of you who are math nerds, you should understand what an ordinal scale is.
Like for thieves like me, what is it?
So an ordinal scale, we think in terms of a numeric scale. Which is or an integer scale, which is numbers ascending from a set point onto infinity. And in an ordinal number system, 1 is the highest value, and things are ordered in rank. It's a ranking system as opposed to a numeric system. Instead of calculating the actual value of a number, you calculate its value in relevance to every other value. So in other words, the best player in Ordinal Scale will always be rank 1, regardless of what their stats actually are. And you can increase this, and in the worst player will be, their Ordinal Scale will be the number, their Ordinal number will be the number of players in there, because he will be the worst of all of the players. As you play and increase your skills and stats, you will be placed in that Ordinal system. And that actually plays a part, is that there's something mysterious about the number 1 player, because as I stated in the previous video, AEG is the second ranked player, and I was most interested about that. But the second ranked. They never mentioned who the number 1 player is, or why the system is the way it is. Because in SAO, all that mattered was your level number. That was what determined your strength. So you could have 1 million level 95s. Well, but all of those aren't. You know that all of those level 95s can't be equivalent in skill. There's got to be some that are more skilled than others. Well, the Ordinal Scale fixes that. So that's where the origin of the name comes from. As far as the story goes, if you really enjoyed SAO, you'll really enjoy this. The emphasis in this movie is definitely on the action sequences. You actually end up fighting a lot of SAO bosses that you never got to see before.
Yeah.
And you realize how ridiculous Kaiba Akihiko was at designing his floor bosses, because they're literally a compilation of the most generic fantasy bosses I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that's fine, whatever, generic MMO stuff.
What I also really love when they did those events, this is, okay, would you say this is technically a spoiler, like when we talk about the idol?
I mean, are we going to talk about spoilers in this show?
Yeah,
because we kind of have to.
Yeah, this is a spoiler cast, so we're going to go all in. So this is going to be possible spoilers ahead. So this is
Just go ahead. What were you going to say?
the boss battles, like the boss battle events, what I really loved about it was like there's an idol singing the music and all that stuff, like
Right.
the boss music, and for some reason I really enjoyed that, and I just kind of wondered, why hasn't that been done in the game? And I remember, oh yeah, didn't Ordinal 3 do that? I think it was Ordinal that did kind of something similar to this, but
Yes, actually, I think I know what you're talking about. It's been done before, and it's definitely something, especially if you're
not like vocal, but like there's like someone actually singing in the background, like it's meta, you know, like
right. That was kind of cool, like having the idol, which is the big promoter for the Ogma.
yeah.
Having the idol, which is the big promoter for it, do a lot of live music is a great way to incentivize people to show up to these critical events, and these critical events are also based solely in SAO, which plays out to the villain's plan. As far as the actual storyline goes, it's not any more far out than anything else that's in the Sword Art Online universe. So I mean, it's basically you have a group that's trying to get revenge for one thing or another. In this case, again, major spoilers ahead. Sorry, kids. Basically, we had a player, a girl who played SAO, and a boy that loved her, and she died because he was powerless. He's bitter and angry about it, and so now he's helping a scientist who was the girl's father, also feeling guilt over his daughter's death. Basically create this plan of revenge by stealing Kaiba Akiko's designs, modifying them, getting SAO players to play it, and then using their information to try to create a digital copy. There's a lot of things I like about this concept because it actually brings a lot of validity to like a theory I've had about Yui for a long time, and that Yui is actually Kaiba Akiko's daughter, or what's left of her. Because we've just proven through Ordinal Scale, which is canon, by the way, we've proven through Ordinal Scale that people can be replicated and or digitized to some degree in these virtual realms. So if, let's say, Kaiba Akiko was trying to save a daughter that was dying, it would explain why he created the Metacuboid, which Yuki ends up using in Season 2, why he would develop a medical device alongside a game-playing murder platform. Why? Well, my theory is that he was trying to prolong the life of a loved one alongside it, and he used his research to help that. When it failed, the last-ditch attempt is that he tried to digitize his own daughter, or someone he cared about, a young girl he cared about, and that's what became Yui. But because she had no idea how successful the project was, he locked her away once SAO began.
Yeah.
She eventually, the system eventually sorted out her consciousness, and that's why she's such a powerful advanced AI. The only other AI capable of this level of advancement is the AI in Ordinal Scale.
Yeah, which is
Kayaba's,
the idol. Yeah.
And Kayaba's ghost, which we know he tried to digitize himself at the end of SAO, as his body was dying. He tried to digitize himself, and we've seen Kayaba's ghost, very sentient, show up both in Ordinal Scale and at the end of the Alpheim arc. So, so that's my theory. You can just take it with a very large grain of salt. I'm sure there's novel snobs who can prove me wrong, but I haven't read all the novels. So, but that's something fun that I got out of this, is that it actually has a lot of very direct points pointing towards the fact that this might be a truth about the series.
There is one funny thing I want to point out. How about that SAO server? One fun fact about this, IBM actually helped out with this. Did you see the article I posted on my Facebook about that?
I did not, actually.
IBM actually, that server, the SAO server that's labeled like SAO, that is actually based on a design, like a server design that IBM actually has, and you could get if you're a corporation. But
that's hilarious, actually.
Yeah, because one thing that kind of made me kind of laugh about that server was like, it reminded me of a gamer, like, of these, like, you've seen, like, have you ever seen, like, these computer cases where it's basically, people like to say it's the gamer aesthetic, where it looks like it's something out of Halo, or,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's put, what if IBM had a server and a gaming PC, and what if we just mashed them together? You get that server.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what the server looked like. It had a bunch of
gamer aesthetic.
Yeah. No. And it, you know what? It was recognizable. I immediately knew that was an advanced server system, and considering it held potentially yottabytes worth of information because SAO was a massive game, I can definitely see why it looked as advanced as it did, and I immediately recognized it as, well, those are the SAO storage servers. So
yeah, but as many people will point out, it says, why are people in SAO? Why are people in this world allowing him to use the source code? Why are people allowing him to do this and that to get it to go? And I'm just like, well, that's the world's rules. And like, well, I guess as long as there's not like a kill mechanic, it can fly, I guess.
Well, I mean, the kill mechanic was specific coding put into the game itself, put into the game after the fact. Like, the game itself is actually based on an engine called the Seed. Like, and so any game you can basically build. I mean, they've in the story itself, they've built SAO just without the death mechanic, and they've imported it into Alfheim.
So essentially, it was kind of tacked on. So essentially, the death thing was kind of just tacked on.
Yeah, it's just extra coding. You can just delete the code, and it works out fine. In fact, they do this in the series. So, like, it's so essentially. Also, you have to realize that there are so many games built on the same engine. There's a lot of Xbox game FPSs are built on the Cry engine. A lot of FPS games are built on the Source engine. Titanfall 2 is built on the same engine that Half-Life 2 came off of.
Oh.
Or Titanfall 1, sorry, is built on the same, because they, I think
like
they use...
like the original Half-Life?
No, Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the Source engine. So, they built... I mean, a lot of games operate off the same engines and look completely different. I mean, Gun Gale operates off of the same... basic engine that SAO and ALO does. Like, it's not so like saying, oh, why did he just use source code? Well, source code, a lot of it is engine code, so that's not surprising whatsoever from a technical standpoint. In fact, since Kayaba was kind of really the only person who ever developed a source code so far, or an engine code, excuse me, from the beginning, that works with the virtual systems, it's not. Everyone else has kind of piggybacked off of it. Very few game development companies these days build engines. They just build games using the engine tools.
Yeah.
Using dev kits.
It's not, because this isn't like the 80s anymore where you basically have to code, like, your own engine to, like...
Well, if they did, games would be $500 a piece because of how much development time it takes to create I mean, it takes 7 to 8 years for a new Unreal Engine to be released. And it's because it takes so long for those engines to be developed. But it saves a lot of time for other game developers because they don't have to start from scratch. They've already got a physics engine and other stuff there ready for them to use and tweak as they please. And games, because of that, can be a lot more complex.
I mean,
these days.
Even Nintendo and all that stuff?
Nintendo uses engine, and they build their own engines for their games.
Yeah.
And in fact, they've used Unreal Engines before. Like, it's not surprising. Like, it saves modern game developers a lot of time. And seeing that trend disappear within the next 20 years, which is the scope of when SAO takes place, is not going to happen. I doubt it. It's not going to. In fact, it's even going to become more reliant on using original engines because of how much longer it's going to take to develop these codes for more advanced games.
Yeah, so, especially with stuff like that has like big worlds. Yeah, or stuff like whatever our opinions might be on this piece of crap, No Man's Sky and all that stuff. But,
well, I mean, No Man's Sky, I don't know if they developed their own engine for that. I honestly stayed away from that. I'm not a PC gamer. I'm a console gamer. I do play on my PC. I do have a PC that plays games, but I very rarely. I would not consider myself a PC gamer, so I don't know much about No Man's Sky because the game never interested me.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, back to SAO.
So yeah, there's the story synopsis is nothing out of the realm of anything usual. Some things that I thought were a little stretchy was AG. The reason he can overpower everybody else and jump like an acrobat is because he's got a robotics suit. Like a robotic augmenter starts joints.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. They have started to develop those in the military. Mostly to help people who have had war injuries that have damaged cartilage, things like that. Also, so like, the realm of the realm. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And it wasn't created by AG. AG didn't do this, and you can't buy these off the market. This was created by the same scientist, but I thought it was a little dumb, a little contrived. Like, I get that Kirito's not in the best shape, but did we really need a superhuman to be the guy beating up people in the real world? Well, maybe not. He could have just been a really skilled player. But I think even more so that goes to the pathetic nature of his character. Like, AG started as a member of Knights of the Blood Oath in SAO. He was a survivor.
Yeah.
But he was a coward. He never jumped to the front lines with the rest of the guild. He always stayed back, did menial tasks, went on small quests, did training. And he was too afraid to risk his life ever. He joined the Knights of the Blood Oath not to be a hero, but just to seek protection. And his cowardice is what eventually led to the death of his loved one, which is, whose remnants become Yuna, who's the idol of the series. And, and I think it speaks to really how pathetic his character is, that he's trying so desperately to escape his cowardice, and he's just cheating. Like, it's the ultimate example of, someone doing whatever they possibly can to run away from their past, and really just lying to themselves the whole time. He's not skilled. He's not powerful. He's just cheating. He's using an augmented power suit, essentially. So it'd be the equivalent of jumping, Master Chief into a group of, normal people.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like cheating.
It is absolutely cheating. He figured out a way to cheat in the real world. So he can't be good at the game. He can't be more skilled, and his fear of not... And he's going into every fight knowing that he's already going to win because he's got overwhelming odds stacked in his favor. So it really shows that he's still kind of the pathetic person that he was before, too afraid to ever fight in a fair fight because of the fear of being hurt or injured or just out of fear in general, or failure, so he has to cheat. And that's really profound, I think. I think that was I think while the cyber suit was kind of dumb, the message that it portrayed was really kind of interesting and cool. Really developed that character kind of subtly in the background. I think as far as the other scientific elements of the show goes, the whole brain zapping thing that they did...
Yeah, that was my next question, because
I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they did that. I have no idea even where to begin. Essentially...
I don't know if that's even kind of even possible, at least with today's technology.
Again, SAO takes place 20 years in the future, and we're talking about a universe that has a neuroscientist who has so mastered the brain that he can pick out individual memories from people's synapses when they're activated. And if you talk to any neurosurgeon, they'll laugh at you. What the hell are you talking about? It's so we live in a very...
There's a little contrivance, at least right there.
Yeah, but there's other ways that they could have done it. It would have literally just taken up different physical space, if that makes any sense. Like, they could have achieved the same results. It just wouldn't have looked as cool, if that makes any sense. Like, if AG just came to the SAO players and beat them up in a back alley and then strapped a plug to their head and extracted the data that way, it would have worked out the same way for the storyline, but it made it so that this stuff could happen during really cool, entertaining fights and not be a nuisance to the progression of the story. So, yeah, is it contrived? Absolutely. Could the story have been written different? Does the story have to be written differently because of it? No, they could have just adjusted a few things, but it wouldn't have been as pleasing.
Yeah, and SAO is not really meant to be dissected by the Neil deGrasse Tyson types or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Certain sci-fi in general is not meant to be dissected by those types anyway.
Well, there's this word in sci-fi called fi, and it's fiction.
Yeah.
So just go with it is what I like to say. Just do it!
Just do it!
Just do it! But anyway, that part I thought was a little weird. At the end, throughout the progression of the story, they explain that the Ogma is basically a down-powered nerf gear. They use the whole microwave power emission thing that you use to charge your phone. They use that, which can be done over long distances, by the way. You just need a powerful sender. They use some kind of sci-fi kajiggery to make it so that the drones that monitor all of the events can supercharge these into becoming basically nerf gears. So there's this part at the end where they all jump into SAO and beat the last boss to scramble and beat the last boss of SAO.
Yeah, because they never got to that. They never got to that point, did they?
No, Kirito put his foot down and ended the game on level 75. Something to do with losing 20-something members of the team, like, on that boss fight alone. But, anyway, so they had, like, this really weird excuse to go back into Ironcrad and beat up the level 100 boss with all of the people in their best gear. So, that was another thing. Is that the very end of the movie is very, very fanfare-y. I won't say fan-servicey, although Leafa Tits and
Yui popping out.
And Boob Jiggle from Asuna through a steel breastplate. You're gonna have to run me by that one again, because I still don't get it. I still don't think that's how it works. But there's a bit of jiggle physics in the end, but other than that, it's just pure fanfare. I mean, everybody's got their best gear from the games that they normally come from. So Shinon's in her sniper gear with her Hikade 2 50 cal, and then like Kirito's in his coat of midnight and his dual swords, and Asuna is in her KOB uniform, and everybody's running around in their original stuff. It's super fanfare. It's like the best what if scenarios. Like, what if all these teams came together for like the guys from and you even see like really obscure characters like the other guys in the tournament from the Gun Gale tournament. Using their guns and primary weapons, like they're there for some reason. The random Cat Saith girls and the Sylphie girls from Arc 2 of Season 1 are there doing their magic, and they're all just fighting this boss in Alfheim. And it's, it's contrived, it's dumb, it's stupid, but it was really fun to watch, so I don't care. And it didn't take away from the story, and it didn't do anything that really breached how the story was going. It was just kind of inconsequential fanfare. The funniest thing is at the end, Kirito comes to Yuna and he says, all right, well, we're ready, man, thanks for all of that. And I was just, and my comment to my buddy sitting next to me was, that was a whole lot of bullshit, wasn't it, Yuna? Because it really was. Like, the ending is complete and utter horse crap. But, I mean, that's not a bad thing. It was thoroughly entertaining. If I watched it again, or if I tried to analyze it, of course it's stupid. Of course it's just forced fan service. But
it's fun.
But it's fun. Like, it was super fun. And again, it didn't do anything that made me hate the movie, and it didn't do anything that really took away from anything else in the movie. One thing I will say about this movie, the major strength of Riki Kawahara, despite what I said last time, is not creating virtual worlds and writing rape, although those are two things he does do a lot of.
Yes.
I will say his biggest strength is building suspense, building mystery. Throughout the first 3/4 of this movie, you have no idea what the hell's going on in this virtual universe. And there's enough that you can make some really terrifying implications in your head, or that you can create some very terrifying conclusions in your head. But until you start getting the last few pieces of evidence, if you're invested in the series like I am and enjoy it, you will be hooked on the edge of your seat trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this movie for a good long time. And not in a bad way. You're not confused. You're just trying to figure out which of the 20 or so possibilities is it going to be. It's very fun, and it doesn't lead your hand. It doesn't hold your hand a lot either. So there's some really suspenseful times. There were times where I thought for sure Kirito was going to get attacked. There were times and all he does is walk into a forest or something for several minutes. There's some really intense dream sequences. There's some really intense drama going on, and all of that really builds towards this great, just super fun, okay, you've sat around for 2 hours and sweated with us. Here's all of the fanfare that you've deserved through all this whole time.
I mean, there was
and that was really fun.
I mean, there was, like, some parts where it was like, okay, this is a little long, but I wouldn't say, like, overarching. I wouldn't say I was bored. I was having a good time.
Well, they had a lot of story to cover too. Like Ordinal Scale, he's trying to pack an entire story arc that he wrote for the series into one movie, which is difficult. Like, I think the movie was a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, for an SA movie that we've waited 2 years for, that's perfectly acceptable. Like, especially since we're not getting a full season. 4 solid episodes worth of, or five solid episodes worth of television on screen with a movie budget is all I can ask for. I will say, if you do watch this movie, wait till the end of the credits.
Yes.
Because there is a little tiny tip of the hat at the end to the final arc, or final arcs, of the series, which is the Alicization, also known as Underworld arcs. And it does say at the end, SAO will return. So, hoorah. Yeah. That will become a thing in next year, 2018, is probably when we'll see Sword Art Season 3. And according to my buddy Travis, who's read all the books, he says if they're going to do it right, they have to do a good another good 24 episodes. It's not going to be a 12 episode spit. It might be 24. He said there's even a possibility for 24 to 40 to 50. So
wow, that's a rarity because
there's a lot. It might not be a 50 episode season. They might split it into 2 more seasons. Again, SAO is still wildly popular here in the States, still wildly popular in Japan, and as I stated last time, anime industry is want for nothing but money. It is a money-making business, guys. So if they can continue to make something and keep its quality up, they're going to continue to make it if it's consistent. I mean, just look at One Piece. 800 plus episodes and the guy's still not bored with drawing the same 5 characters over and over again.
And but yet it's that was one thing I forgot to discuss on the last episode of last night's episode as of this recording. On the last episode of Otaku Midnight, we forgot to bring up Toonami canceling One Piece. Yeah. Which actually kind of sucks. I mean, I was kind of hoping they would get rid of Naruto. I personally would have gotten rid of Naruto personally, but
I personally wouldn't have. I like I said, I have watched parts of the big 3. I have watched at least the first 2 or 3 seasons of One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto, as well as most of Dragon Ball. But I was a kid when Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z was airing in the States, so I mean, I was hooked on that like hooked on cocaine.
Yeah.
And honestly, out of all 3 of them, I think Naruto and Bleach far outweigh One Piece in creativity and originality, or at least as far as entertainment value. One Piece to me, and it has nothing to do with the art style, although I'm not a fan. One Piece just gets so repetitive after a while, after even the 2nd or 3rd season, that I've heard it for a lot of people they lose interest very quickly, and I hear nowadays, especially, most of the arcs are identical. So them getting rid of One Piece when literally tuning in every episode is going to be 5 minutes of advancement with 10 minutes of awkward screaming and visuals. I kind of have to agree with that. Like, Naruto, at least now, because I think they're on Shippuden.
Yeah, they're on Shippuden.
Yeah, and there's a lot more going on each episode in Shippuden than there is in any of the other big 3, in my opinion. In the final seasons of Bleach, until it gets to the final season, it also gets kind of slow. But I kind of agree with that sentiment. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, so at least, speaking of Toonami, I'm pretty sure...
Naruto's also prettier to look at, but go ahead.
And that also has something to do with me not being, a big Naruto guy, but...
I mean, that's fine. We all knew John Lowe.
Oh, right. That's a friend of ours.
A mutual buddy of ours from high school who was the quintessential Narutard.
Oh God! Yes. Okay. Anyway, shout out to you, buddy, if you somehow are listening. but anyway, overall, I thought this movie was a really good time, and also, if you missed your chance to see us in theaters, it's coming back again in April on the 22nd. With a dub. Now, I know you're not a big fan of the dub, and can you please explain why?
So here's the thing. I think all of the voice talent in the United States that still has a job in the anime industry is doing a lot of good work. That being said, if I learned anything from Girlish Number or from speaking with Monica Real this past OhioCon that I went to, your availability for a series has more to do with your availability in your schedule than it has to do with your skill as a voice actor or your aptitude for this character. Bryce Papenbrook, I believe, is the man who plays Kirito.
Yes.
In English. Bryce, if you listen to this somehow, I love you, man. I love you in a lot of things that you've done. And you're absolutely exceptional in the industry you work in. I do not believe you're Kirito. In fact, I believe you are so not Kirito that I actually believe that the canon English voice for Kirito is the guy who runs Something Witty Entertainment on YouTube. The guy who does the SAO Abridged series.
Yeah,
very
good.
I actually enjoy his Kirito more than I do Bryce Papenbrook's.
I don't know what it is about you, Bryce, but I just don't enjoy your version of Kirito. As well as, and I don't remember her name, forgive me, the lady, the young woman who plays Asuna in the English dub, I also feel is just very mismatched. Just something wrong. They either feel too mature, or too dejected, or too disinterested in everything that's going on, and Bryce Peppenbrook can't do a war scream. He needs to go back to Viking school because he can't do a fucking war scream. Listening to him do his screams and then going back and listening to the Japanese voice actor for Kirito is just night and day. Kirito and the Japanese scream so intensely sometimes that his voice cracks. And that's dedication, and I just don't get it from Bryce. Other than that, all of the talent in SAO is fine. Klein's voice, perfect.
Yeah,
Silica's perfect. Liz is perfect. All of these other voice actors and actresses who take part, Letha, perfect. All these other voice actors and actresses who play in SAO are doing, I think, are perfectly matched. It's just literally my biggest issue are the two characters that you see most on the screen, which are Bryce Peppenbrook and, again, I forget her name, the young woman who plays Asuna's voice.
By the way, the Japanese voice actor for Kirito is Yoshisuke
Matsuoka.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, if you're going to watch Eromanga Sensei next season, by the same author as Oreimo, also it's basically Oreimo remixed, Matsuoka is playing the brother's voice in that series, and I cannot wait.
Yes.
I cannot wait.
I cannot
my
wait
excitement
to
is maximum.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. But yeah, Matsuoka's voice is just so much more passionate, so much more aggressive, and he fits that character so perfectly. I first heard him in a little-known series called Heaven's Memo Pad, which is a very neat series. That's a little joke.
Neat.
It's a very neat series. I would definitely go watch it and listen to some of his early voice work. He's just been stellar from start to finish in his career. But Bryce, again, I love you, man, and things that you've done before. I just don't think you're Kirito. It just rips me completely out of the moment. Almost a lot of times when you deliver a line, and it's not really your fault, man. You had a lot to live up to, in my opinion, and it's just maybe that's not your deal. But I cannot stand. I really just can't stand the SAO dub whatsoever. But to those of you who enjoy it, I mean, go see it again. Or if you just want to go and enjoy the visuals and you just want to put earplugs in, like I probably will, then just.
But you'll miss out on the awesome Yuki Kajiro score.
Exactly. That's a tough point we need to talk about quickly.
Yes, because I'm actually going to be buying the soundtrack to this one.
Yes, the soundtrack to this movie and the visuals both were absolutely exceptional.
Yes.
And the SAO soundtrack has always been good. Yuki Kajiro did a perfect job emulating every aspect of the show through music, as she usually does. And she also did an exceptional job with this movie soundtrack. A lot of original songs, a lot of, again, her forte seems to be Celtic or Gaelic themed music. Mixed in with a bit of modern Japanese style, and it's all excellent. And just every big fight in this movie is done with the background being an original Yuki Kojiro song, because in the movie that it's portrayed to be like Yuna's style. So all of the Yuki Kojiro's music was meant to be sung by Yuna, essentially, or the character Yuna. So as she's doing her little pop star thing in the corner while everyone's fighting for their lives, like. It's thrilling, to hear her music playing.
Those are the most engaging parts of the movie, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What do you want out of an SAO movie? Well, I want lots of drama and teenage angst, and I'm just sitting here I want Kirito to kill things with 2 swords. That's all I want. And also, that god weapon at the end.
What was the god weapon?
So remember, once he beats the aspect of the radius, which is the name of the final boss in SAO. The Floor 100 boss, he's granted a weapon that's he's granted a sword for beating the final boss, and he literally walks back into reality equipped with this sword in the Ogma, and he just swings it and 5 bosses die. It's literally a god weapon.
Yeah, it's literally
it is a delete button. It is a giant delete key with a blade. Absolutely absurd.
Absolutely ridiculous. If that shows up in the rest for the rest of the show, there's nothing that can beat this kid. Like,
But that makes him a Gary Stu.
no, it makes him overpowered. It doesn't. At this point, it makes him overpowered. It doesn't make him a Gary Stu.
Yeah, like, well, Gary Stu also means overpowered, too. If I'm not-
Mary Sue just means generic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mary Sue and Gary Stu just mean a generic character. I don't know if
Yeah.
people think. I mean, in anime, the overpowered protagonist is considered generic, so maybe that's where the correlation came from. But that's not the origin of that. Origin of that phrase, I don't think. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And I'll be sure to yell at you later.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it was great. The music, especially fantastic. They
Yes.
have a lot of people, SAO, and go to Pedantic Romantic's video if you want to talk about the animators who worked on this one, because he does a great job illustrating
there's-
them and describing.
There's something beeping.
It's my watch. It'll stop in a second.
Alright.
But yeah, Pedantic Romantic does a great job of talking about the visual artists who are involved in this film. A lot of the people they brought on, some of them have done animations for Naruto fight scenes. Some of them have done big mecha projects. A lot of them have done other exceptional works, and a lot of them are SAO veterans. And the visuals, the music, just again perfect, exceptional, and really exciting to see in big screen. So the music, again, fantastic. Everything about this film just great. Like, if you're a fan of the series, you'll love it. If you don't like SAO too much, if you're not a fan, or if you just can't get by whatever it does to take shortcuts with its story or whatever, you'll hate the hell out of this movie. But I mean, I'm not really sure why you're listening to this podcast if you don't like the series anyway. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. If it's just more of the same, but it's always worth it to fans to see more of the same thing that they love.
Yeah.
So.
And personally, even though I'm not I'm not like a big super fan like you when it comes to SAO, I am intrigued to see what's going to happen in season 3. I am intrigued to see what's going to go
Well,
on.
we're getting close to the end of the series so far, and I heard that Riki Kawahara is writing books 12 and 13 or 13 and 14 or something like that, and I'm not sure if that's true, if it's going to be finished.
Because apparently it's supposed to connect. Isn't it supposed to like connect to Excel World?
Well, they do take place in the same universe. In fact, there's a lot of theories that Kuroyuki Hime from Excel World is actually Kirito and Asuna's daughter. Biological daughter, of course, not Yui. But, I mean, there are theories about that. As far as the content of the novels, I think he's done a good job keeping that under wraps, because I can't find anything on them. Other than, hey, he's writing again. Okay.
Yeah, I guess he's taking a break from like the millions of dollars he got from SAO.
Yeah, eventually you do get bored of Hookers and Blow. So, I mean, you know, eventually you will get tired of Hookers and Blow and constant attention. So,
Okay, so overall, if you're a fan of if you're a fan of the series, I totally recommend it. So
yeah.
before we go, there's some movies that I know we're definitely going to be seeing Kizumonogatari 3, so we're going to do a review show again. This time I'm going to be having I don't know who I'm going to have on for the Kizumonogatari show, but I definitely know I want to have this mofo over here.
Mofo here.
Yep. We're definitely gonna bring him on for that, and also we're gonna be doing. Are you gonna try and see Your Name up in Columbus?
I'm gonna try. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be an issue as long as it's in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean it's supposed to. I think it's playing on the same day, so it's like unless we want to do like a double feature or something like that.
We could do that. I mean, I'm totally planning on seeing both of these movies at some point anyway. So. I'll be able to put my 2 cents in if I'm here again. But and the other thing we need to also talk about is, just briefly is, Ghost in the Shell live action with Scarlett Johansson coming up. Or
Yeah. I think. Do you want? If you're seeing that, I'll see it with you because I wouldn't mind doing like a podcast on that too. Yeah. Like talking about not the SAO movie, but the Ghost in the Shell movie.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I wouldn't mind seeing it at all.
Yeah, since we also talk about movies on the show, which we did last night. we did a podcast on Get Out. So if you haven't seen that, if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that episode. It's pretty damn good. But but yeah, overall, expect Serodin on for like more episodes, especially the Oreimo discourse, and
oh, good lord, yes, I have a lot to say.
give everyone
Against the
like a sample.
haters of that series, and a little pretext of what to expect from that episode. I am of the opinion that anybody who understands Oreimo and understands what's actually going on in the series doesn't hate it.
Yes.
The hate comes from misunderstandings that occur either because of a cultural barrier or because you just really didn't get all the subtlety that's going on in the series. And there's a lot of it, a lot more than a lot of people give it credit for.
Or better yet,
My favorite girl did win.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah,
because
not yet.
My favorite girl did win, but that's another stories. And nana boo boo.
So yeah, well, that's the show. Serodin, I can't thank you enough for allowing me to do another show with you again.
No problem.
Everyone, yeah, with all the feedback we got from the last episode we did with I did with Serodin, expect more episodes in the future, and probably expect them in the Otaku Midnight Studios really soon. So
Cool.
It's going to be really fun. So with that, as always, you can find me on Twitter at Cube3rd, as spelled KYUUBETHE3RD. The show's email is otakumidnight@gmail.com. That is spelled OTAKUMIDNITE@gmail.com. And Serodin, you're not on anywhere.
Not really. Not yet. So we'll figure that out as time goes on.
Yeah, because a lot of people really liked your musings and all that stuff. So there
Awesome.
you go. So yeah,
Whoa, hang on.
as always, I'm Cube3rd.
And I'm DoubleOSerodin.
And even though we have our memories swiped away from some weird ass drone every time we say it, this is Otaku Midnight.